Happy Tensura Day. As usual, shout out to Aninews. Let's check out the cut content of the previous episode before we go on to the next. We're getting a showdown, baby. Shota versus Loli. Who shall win? I think it's pretty obvious, but like, if Maribel doesn't put up a good fight or at least something to keep it interesting, she's gonna look extremely fraudulent, and then she's gonna run home crying to Grandpa Pirozzo, and then that'll be funny. So, either way, it's gonna be good content for us.
This conflict with Maribel is one of the more interesting ones. Where before, all of Rimuru's enemies attacked him because of who he was, Maribel's reasoning goes far beyond that. Her actions are the culmination of a nation on the brink of being swallowed up by Tempest. In that sense, even Rimuru can see what she's doing as justified, as both understood this war didn't stop until one side completely enveloped the other.
Doesn't have to be that bad. But it does feel like one side is definitely going to swallow up the other. So it makes sense for other sides who are going to get swallowed up to be self-preserving. Everyone else before, basically, are like casuals and hating monsters. Maribel's racism goes far beyond that. To the point where it's like competitive racism that Rimuru actually respects, while the people before, they're just a bunch of like amateur racists that just hate us in the case of monsters, but they don't see the bigger picture.
It was the natural end for this conflict of opposing motivations and philosophies. So, where in the past all of Rimuru's other conflicts were 100% self-defense, this one with Maribel wasn't. It makes Maribel's position all the more interesting since, in a way, both her and Rimuru are fighting for the same goal, just on opposite sides of the spectrum. We'll be talking more about that in this video here, along with the bold new threat Maribel brought to help even the playing field. Let's get started.
But first,
Episode 81.
No ad.
Investigating the ruins. With the group having instantly arrived at the puppet nation of Distov, it was only natural they'd be surprised at how easygoing such an expedition was. Not only were they warmly greeted by the nation's elder, they were each taken to their own private accommodations as well as given a tour as if honored guests.
Yeah, I expected some dingy, barren wasteland ghost town. Turned it out to be a luxurious tourist spot.
That much we saw in the anime, but in case it wasn't clear, Rimuru had informed them beforehand to take care of them like this. The novel then wastes no time getting to the ruins entrance, so once in, that was when Kogli gave her history lesson. If you remember back when I talked about it in a previous video, the puppet nation of Distov was best known for its defenses. You see, back when Kogli was the demon lord Kazalim, for his capital city of Imrita, he—
Oh, right there with the mask. Yeah, it makes sense. It was literally just explaining the backstory. I didn't realize it was literally Kali right there.
For his capital city of Imrita, he had constructed a defense system that used the most advanced of magical techniques.
Ancient magic.
It was a combination of golems and intricately woven defense spells. To put into context how strong those golems were, Clayman's masterpiece Viola was only slightly stronger than the average ones we see here.
Impressive.
So, with the ruins guarded by complex—
Is it though? Our Bayonetta, Bariella, we had a golem, right? You literally just deconstructed it like a gun, just put it apart. Is it that impressive? I mean, it's like an army of it, so maybe it is.
Spells and powerful golems. To the average expeditioner, such a defense system would seem impervious.
This is not a Clayman upscale, this is a Clayman downscale. Because like, it's not as impressive, because there's a army of seemingly almost Clayman elite soldiers that they can just procure.
As for what these ruins were based off of,
Beretta's the
that,
name.
as we know, was the ancient city of Soma, the now destroyed elven paradise reduced to ashes by Milim.
The elves fucked up. They didn't definitively say it's what killed the Chaos Dragon that led to the crash out. That's the only I can only imagine one thing could have happened though, and that's why like the elves and their ancestors through Eren, right, understands the story.
Those who survived her wrath had sworn to rebuild it, but with the Chaos Dragon wreaking havoc in what was once their home, the remaining elves unfortunately had no choice but to leave.
The Chaos Dragon at that point was haunting them. Interesting. And this is not some sort of corrupt Chaos Dragon. This is literally the Chaos Dragon that was with Milim. And both of them are just tag teaming these elves.
Ashes by Milim. Those who survived her wrath had sworn to rebuild it, but with the Chaos Dragon wreaking havoc in what was once their home, The remaining elves unfortunately had no choice but to leave. It's not like the Chaos Dragon was as powerful as the naturally born true dragons, but with the threat level of catastrophe, it was certainly far more than these elves could handle. So, with the survivors all splitting up in every direction, it would be the unlearned peasant classes that would continue to follow their leader.
The peasants!
That leader would be Kazalim, one of the few members of Elven royalty to experience Milim's rage and survive to talk about it.
Damn.
He would guide his people to their new home, creating a new city where, as
It's literally Kazarim right here in the murals. It would make a lot of sense. I just thought it was supposed to be some, I don't know, just some art like depicting their society and like their leaders, but yeah, there it is right there.
As we now know, their elven technology continues to exist. When it came to Clayman's connection to all this, his skill, Manipulator, made him the perfect person to
Ley
decrypt
lines.
whatever magic seals stood in front of him.
That is such an interesting way of using manipulation. It's a very general and vague concept that can be applied to like finding ley lines. It's not just manipulating people and how you just manipulate brainwash somebody. It's just like I can read everything.
I know the anime describes Manipulator as the ability to read ley lines,
Yeah.
but what it actually is the power to convert information into encrypted messages that can then be sent and received.
This dude should be working for like the CIA.
That being the case, the ability to read ley lines was just a natural result of Manipulator. So, when confronted by a complex bundle of data such as this, Manipulator could easily analyze the ley lines controlling it and figure out how to dismantle them. That said, with Manipulator being an inferior version of a skill Rimuru already possessed, after consuming Clayman, the skill was dismantled and absorbed for energy. Control Terrain was the only skill Rimuru didn't have, so that was added as a subset skill to Law Manipulation. A separate ability that
can do
lets
anything.
Rimuru directly manipulate the laws of the world.
Looks like he just got out of the shower here. This is supposed to be such a big moment where Rimuru is like possessed by, I think, the voice of the world or some shit as we're trying to resurrect Shion and ascend to true demon lord status, but like it just looks like he got out of the shower and he just like fuck.
This would allow Rimuru to decipher the magic circles easily, something that Milim was able to figure out on her own too. In fact, it was as Rimuru was explaining the process behind his magic seal analysis that Milim would just go and unseal the door completely.
Okay.
The next day, the group would venture down past it, Rimuru and Milim taking the lead as they would detect the traps for everyone. Kaguli followed closely behind, acting as the guide, while Shion and Gobta protected the rear like bodyguards.
Gopta!
Ranga stayed in the shadows just in case, while the Elder Elf watched the door for any uninvited guests. Rimuru was, after all, expecting a different type of trap, so this was the least he could do to be prepared for it.
Bro, is the trap?
Lunch we saw Rimuru had planned with purpose, since to start a fire in such a closed space was dangerous.
It came out of his stomach, by the way.
This was, after all, a very tight corridor, and with no source of water nearby for emergencies, should a fire grow out of control, they wouldn't have an escape route. It's not like any of that was a danger truly worth considering though, since it was during lunch that Rimuru had set up a transport gate back to the entrance just so that people could go to the washroom.
Okay.
They definitely all could have just gone behind.
They could just piss and shit on Rimuru. They could. I don't think we're using Rimuru's full potential for our convenience. He could straight up waste disposal right there. He could.
Behind a rock or something, but with the crypt being what was below them, Rimuru didn't want to desecrate it that way. Now, it was during those bathroom breaks that Rimuru and Kaguli would try something interesting, a method of approach developed in his own dungeon.
Oh.
With elemental communication constantly being used to navigate the best path in his own dungeon, Rimuru wanted to see if it could be used here. All they needed was a shaman or elementalist. Luckily, one of the expeditioners was a shamaness herself, so after a quick intro as to how elemental communication worked, she would attempt to make contact
She's the
with
shaman.
the wind spirits she was attuned to.
Oh shit. Yo, we got excavation crew upscale. They skipped the details of this, but it's cool to flesh out more of what they're about.
That in turn turned into step-by-step directions on how to get to the next entrance, directions Raphael would then create a map out of. At first he thought of just having Raphael draw it for him, but that's when Rimuru would remember an even better approach. He recalled a time when he read the book 101 Wild and Wacky Spells, then sifted through those memories to find the illusory
What?
magic Lithography.
What?
It was a spell that allowed the caster to put any diagram they thought of onto a piece of paper.
This is useful?
All they needed was someone proficient in illusory magic to cast it, a role that yet another expeditioner would step into. They were only a mysticist in training though, so once again, Rimuru would have to teach them the inner workings of how this illusory spell worked. It was after that the mysticist would be drawing up maps
Quite
with these,
detailed.
eventually creating a complete map for the path ahead of them. It was once they got to
Excavation squad upscale. Excuse me. 3, 2, 1. Oh god, I think it's allergies or some shit. Anyways, cool to hear more detailed and flesh out of these supporting characters. Makes the world building more immersive rather than just like, oh, here's NPC 1, 2, 3, and they're here to help you out in the excavation. In the anime, they made it seem like they were academics, right? They didn't go into the details, but you could tell how dedicated they were to the craft of whatever they're doing.
the third door that, while the expeditioners were decrypting the seal blocking the path ahead of them, Milim, Gopta, and Rango would
This guy literally just holds this pose the entire time too. The thinker pose.
ahead of them, Milim, Gopta, and Rango would be riding around gathering any and all treasure they could. What they returned with was highly
Milim and
exceptional battle
Ranga.
equipment,
Wow.
incredible pieces all perfectly infused with magicules.
She found booty!
There was even a high quality, extremely valuable unique among them.
Oh?
It didn't make sense for Clayman to leave such gear untouched though, so that's when Milim would admit she looted them off some golems. Golems she had to destroy because she triggered a trap that activated them.
Accident, okay.
If you're wondering how someone as perceptive as Milim would trigger a trap in the first place,
She doesn't care. She's just like a kid.
well, that's because the mechanism activating it was fundamentally different from any of the more physical-based ones, where those were activated by stepping on something like a switch. These were programmed to go off like a sensor. They detected every biological life form in the area, then sent golems after any whose wavelengths didn't match those that were programmed to be acceptable. Milim's was of course one of them, so that left her no choice but to force her way through the golems. It was an interesting trap that Milim now wanted to bring back to their own dungeon.
Okay.
Corridors that only allowed pre-selected people through. Now, it was unlikely the weapons the golems
Yeah, our dungeon is gonna get an upgrade after this arc.
had were uniques to begin with, but with so much time having passed with the weapons just sitting there, Rimuru assumed they evolved right here in these golems' hands. It was then that a localized energy blast would shake the ruins down to its core, the ruins' defenses activating
I honestly think like they forced Shion to not wear other clothing just for this. Like no, she wanted to wear the gift. The really like it was like it's not a sexual dress. It was a very casual outfit and she was so proud of it, and Rimuru was like, no, you need to switch back to your accountant outfit, your secretary outfit.
is activating in the process. Rimuru couldn't be sure Kaguli wasn't the one who had activated it herself, but with Milim confirming no suspicious magical communications going on around them,
Yeah.
Rimuru could only assume she was innocent.
She is either acting like crazy, Oscar-winning like performance, or she really is just ignorant and has no idea what's going on. Yuki, I guess, never told her anything. And she's like, whoa, what's going on here? And she's like, wow, Rimuru, you have a lot of opponents, huh? It's just like, bitch, you literally part of the group that's scheming. Yuki is a puppet master. It doesn't feel like Kagari knows much.
That was when Raphael would warn him of the potential soul corridor connections, the only type of communication Milim couldn't detect.
Uriel.
This just made things a bit more difficult since with no confirmation that Kaguli was friend or foe yet, Rimuru would have no choice but to spare some effort in protecting her. He figured it'd be much easier if she just revealed her spy status and ran away from them. Her team would actually be surprised at Rimuru's efforts to protect them since their expressions made it seem like they expected him to abandon them. It was a bit hurtful considering the lengths he'd gone to get them
No
to trust him.
way.
Fortunately, all this was something Rimuru had planned for, but right as he and his team moved into their intercept position, that's when they would detect the dragon approaching them. Its power was greater than that of a dragon lord's, leading Rimuru to think that this could be one of Veldora's siblings.
Crazy Glaze. Chaos Dragon is not Veldora's sibling, right? Because it can't be, because it's not a true dragon, right? Right? This is a subsection of other categories of dragons. It can't be family.
That's right. Whatever this dragon was, it existed far beyond the typical framework that defined it.
Oh, excuse me.
As far as Rimuru could tell, he could only assume this had to be a true dragon, the highest ranking being of existence right alongside Veldora.
It's a false dragon.
Unlike Veldora, though, this Chaos Dragon lacked any sort of personality. Whatever it was clear it was fundamentally different. So, as the dragon triggered something within Milim Rimuru had never seen before, that's when Rimuru knew this had to be the Chaos Dragon.
She made a face of sadness. It was a very solemn look, very rare for someone like Milim.
It was a monster whose power made Charybdis look like an insect. A monster whose sheer hatred and rage wouldn't stop until the entire world was destroyed. And
really?
With Maribel now being the one controlling it, it was lucky that Milim was here to help Rimuru take care of it. If anyone could put this monster back to sleep, it would be her.
This is actually such a despicable thing happening right now. Wonder if Maribel understands what she's doing, because I think she does. Like, why would you intentionally bring this specific thing here for Milim, to counter Milim? Like, obviously, it's so intentional. Imagine someone's bringing back someone that you love that was like family as like zombie to fight against you. Also, the death of that person was also done in such a tragic way in the past too. It wasn't just like a random death. Like, this is diabolical.
So, Rimuru would have liked to use a gate to get the expeditioners to safety, but with the golems quickly approaching, there was very little time to do so. In fact, with Xion not taking in her surroundings while fighting these golems, she would actually get her sword caught in the ceiling and get punished because of it. It's not like getting impaled by a spear was a very big deal for her, but the onslaught of golems was much more of a hassle than the anime made it seem.
Okay.
Especially since Rimuru didn't want to damage the surrounding area.
Gopta was going hard with the guns.
It was once the crypt was open, though, that the bigger space made dealing with them a whole lot easier. It was just the tight corridors of before made doing anything a lot more difficult. Now that Rimuru had time to get himself ready, he was able to take in just how far his opponents were willing to go. If they were willing to anger Milim just to get to him, then his full power was all they would be getting in return. Before, he felt he was probably underestimating Maribel, but with the move she'd just made, that was no longer the case.
Really? I guess he really expected even less from her. Because to me, I feel like nothing's gonna really go down. Maybe I'm underestimating her. But like, she brought back fucking the hero, bro. The hero from Timu. The dude that literally just got corrected by Shuna. And then she brought back another fucking holy paladin dude that had like 3 seconds of screen time in season 3. And then there's Yuki, who's LARPing and acting as if he possessed to just get away with an excuse to, you know, fuck Rimuru up as an opportunity. And it's just like, really? Is this the best you have? Listen, I think all my bets are on in this, man, right? Jotaro Kujo right here, yada yada. This dude, Grandpapi Rotsu, I actually do have a lot of faith in him because he was an ex-hero. That is a crazy title, right? Retired, former hero, kinda crazy. The others? What are we doing, man?
So, in the novel, he would put himself into full battle mode before Maribel had even showed herself.
What? Stop it, bro. Stop. We're still in our fucking safari fucking excavation setup. He locked the fuck in the manga.
This basically removed any and all restrictions he'd previously imposed on himself, ensuring he could fight at his full potential should he have to.
Whoa.
As for why all this was happening, while not entirely different from his conflict with Pharmis, Clayman, and Hinata, Rimuru couldn't say this was 100% self-defense like how the others were. Where Rimuru tried to make it seem like he was never the one starting beef, for this situation in particular, it wasn't necessarily true. You see, this was a conflict of motivations, a clash of philosophies that just didn't mesh together.
The others, again, it's the competitive racism where they have like a just cause for being racist because at this pace, the world will be swallowed up by Tensura, and for humans, that's like a terrifying thought because like, what happens if Rimuru is actually bad or whoever takes over is bad after it? Yeah, I get it. we're trying to chill though. But like, because we're so it's basically like suffering from success. We are so dominant as an economic powerhouse and the potential for development that everyone else will end up just being swallowed up, even if our intent is to coexist in peace.
Sooner or later, this was bound to
Segregate them. What's the lesson? Segregation is always the way to go. Monsters and humans should just separate left and right of the world or something, and we just live in ignorance. Will that work? Well, no, because Tempest is supposed to be a nation of inclusivity, of like everyone can just join and have fun. It was never about monster supremacy or human supremacy.
happen, and while it would have been nice to resolve it with a conversation, a proper resolution was never gonna come until one side was completely swallowed up by the other. Both Rimuru and Maribel understood that, so for Maribel to be making the bold move that she was now, Rimuru knew he couldn't fault her for it. If she didn't, then it was only a matter of time before the Western nations lost the economic war. Like, with Tempest having both the superpowers of Dworgen and Sadion on their side, Rimuru knew just as well as Maribel that eventually Tempest was gonna annex them all.
And you know what? I think the quality of life for those nations are gonna go up. Yep. With our super powerful technological development and just advancement of society, I think everyone would benefit. Y'all acting as if Reboot is gonna be an emperor and a tyrant, punishing and taxing these peasants for all they got. I doubt it!
So, it's because of that Rimuru felt Maribel's actions were in some way justified, making his justified too. Both were neither right or wrong for putting their own interests first.
Burn the cage.
Perhaps there was a world where both could have accepted the different principles they both abided by, then never spoke to each other again, but with Rimuru having zero interest in their side and their side zero interest in his, the inevitable end result was always going to be confrontation.
I will still say that we have a better just cause because their entire position is human supremacy. I understand the whole argument being made about self-preservation and the inevitability of one side losing to the other. But like if this was specifically monster supremacy versus human supremacy, then like I could kind of see an angle. But Rimuru is trying to like include all, while Maribel is trying to reject everyone except themselves. That causes more of like this, I guess, moralities and ethical perspective of, Tempest seems to be in the right.
In a way, this was actually better than economic warfare though, since despite not having a loss of life on the battlefield, that was a war which never ended.
Eminence in Shadow? Is this Eminence in Shadow? Is this the John Smith money printing arc?
There was no defined surrender a side could take, so as long as one side didn't completely fall under the umbrella of the other, this battle of economies could go on forever.
Thank you, Victor, for the 19! Thank you!
For Maribel to turn soft economic warfare into a full-on military one, well, that to Rimuru was a stroke of luck on his part. Now he could personally show Maribel that she would never win, after which she'd have no choice but to admit defeat.
Nah, she gotta go back to Grandpappy Rotsu. Now, until Grandpappy has been corrected, this arc ain't gonna end.
Whether the means were just was a completely different question, but like I said before, neither side was fully wrong for approaching things the way they did. Even Rimuru didn't believe his actions to be the absolute correct one.
There is no absolute correct, but in terms of more people benefiting, I think Ryuda's option that leads to a better outcome.
Then that Maribel would enter the scene to confirm that, bringing us to the end of the episode. So, all in all, it's pretty cool to see something that might actually pose as a threat. Maribel probably...
You think we're gonna get this kind of animation in the upcoming fights? Shoutouts to Team Puri. Animation studio Team Puri. Puri means root in Korean. This is a Korean exclusive studio that has also key animated the openings for Solo Leveling. That's why it's so fucking godlike. Like they went crazy for Tensura. Literally the last work that they did before this opening was Solo Leveling, man. I don't think we're gonna live up to that standards.
To see something that might actually pose as a threat. Maribel probably won't be able to do anything to Rimuru, but at least her dragon might force them to try a bit. I'm curious to see how all this turns out now. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed learning more about this episode, and
yes,
if you did and want to see more, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, sir!
Now, until next time.
See you next time. Thank you, Mr. Aninews. Oh, look at matey. Just maybe just getting fucked up. We'll watch that, you know, probably like next Wednesday as we always do. Anyways, please go check out Mr. Aninews and go support his channel and go give the video a like. Another great video summarizing some of the more stuff that was cut out. I think the excavation squad getting more glaze and their different class specialties and what they're about fleshes out their group more. Kind of cool to understand that this was actually causing him this entire time, right? And what they were about, bro, was literally on the fucking murals. And what else? Some, I guess, more difficulty in the labyrinth than like these mob monsters. Whatever. And finally, the confrontation of the Loli and the Shota. It's fun to actually know that Rimuru went all in before she showed up, but he's just wearing his safari hat and he just got out-debated by a child. But remember, this is not a child. This is a fucking hegemony of war and economic power and all that. Literally a monarch, bro, back in the real world. So it's a scary threat, man. I'll see you in the actual episode reaction. Bye-bye.